Opposing Gloves here, and this is a little introduction to a mini series inside of a larger series. If you've been following the MIDI music theory from the ground up, this is of interest to you. It is the Melody series. So this series is part of the larger series, so you do need to have understanding of chords, of progressions. I treat it as part of that series, but I wanted it to be a separate thing because I feel like people need this information or want this information and don't have it presented in a way. I feel like you're more likely to find it if I make a little sub-series for it as well. And that is on the melodic side, I teach you how to write melodies, essentially. I teach you in the videos, I go over specific ideas of these are standardized things that are embellishing ways of making melodies more interesting. So if you have how to make some like chord progressions, then you will be able to now go forward and make some interesting melodies to go with those chord progressions. Now, if you have trouble making chord progressions, look in the series. There is a chromatic, and what you want to look up is you want to look up the videos about if you have basic understanding. Like you can make like a 1-5-6-1 chord progression or whatever. You can make a 1-5-6-4-1 chord progression. Like, you know what that means? Then you want to check out the circular chord progression video because that's fundamental. Then you want to go check out the properties of then you want to look up secondary dominant. That one will make your chord progressions way more interesting. And then to top it off, you want to look up your chromatic, the properties of the tritone, and then chromatic chord progressions. I forgot what the video is called, but it's the second video after the tritone video where I talk about chromatic circular chord progressions and the tritone substitution. Those will make your chord like if you got all that under your belt, you're gonna make like some friggin' crazy chord progressions. Most things you'll be able to get, and we haven't even gotten into sevenths or ninths or extensions. A lot of people try to go in those directions, and that will make your stuff more rich. But as far as creating interest and dynamic moving towards an end goal or a cadence, you should know what that is if you're gonna look at this sort of stuff. Then you want to use those types of tools. So people go after different tools for different reasons, and sometimes they go after the wrong one without realizing it. So anyways, this is an introduction. We're going to be talking about things like this. So like escape tones is, I just finished that video, and this is what I have sort of as a little demo for escape tones. So I show you like, hey, look at this. This is an escape tone. And I explain what an escape tone is. Appoggiaturas, we talk about neighboring tones, passing tones, all those kinds of things. It does rely on you knowing about scales and things. Now I'm doing this in MIDI, but if you are a written music person, it'll still work just fine for you. We're talking about ideas. So if you understand the idea, you can easily apply it in written music. So it's not necessary to show like 2 separate videos of the whole thing. But for a lot of the series, I do that with in the larger series. I have separate videos for written music because it is a little bit different for you guys. And another thing that you might enjoy is I take this stance without looking at part writing. So most of the time it's taught from a part writing perspective with harmony and all this stuff. I do not, because a lot of people don't use that stuff immediately. So I teach it from a perspective of you're just going to compose something. Like you're just going to write. You don't need to know anything about part writing. Now, eventually I will approach it because it is a mega useful thing to know, but I feel like when you're first introduced to concepts, it's very helpful to just sort of toss it off to the side and look at bigger pictures and then come back to it later. And then we'll revisit topics and it will make way more sense. But that stuff's like way off in the future. But anyways, this is a little introduction video telling you what to expect. So you'll be seeing things like what an escape tone is, what these tools are. And by the end, you're going to be able to make some really dynamic creative melodies. So like on this one, this is just to demonstrate the principle. It's not like a part of a track or anything. It just literally, I wrote it out like just like that, like bang, because I understood principles that I was using. And this one is an example of escape tones. There are other ideas in here, but they have already been covered in the series. So as you can see, we have this sort of dynamic melody, and I'm featuring escape tones mostly. So that's what this is about. But you could create, this isn't like one I would settle on. This is just an example of a type of melody you could use and the reason why you pick notes the way you do and where you put them and stuff like that. So if you are interested in this sort of thing, this may be a little type of thing you might want to watch, might want to share it with someone. I don't know, plug it in a community, whatever you want to do. If you have any questions, let me know, subscribe, and have a blessed day.